Microsoft, OpenAI, Anthropic, and Google are currently burning through tens of billions of dollars in capital expenditure. They are building server farms miles wide, trying to secure enough compute power to train proprietary foundation models that require constant, massive investment. And yet, through all of this, the world's most valuable company has remained noticeably quiet. From the outside, Apple's isolated headquarters seemed to mirror an engineering team that had fallen behind in the AI space. The prevailing assumption across the tech industry was that Apple had no choice. To survive the next decade of computing, they would eventually be forced to build a massive trillion-parameter foundation model entirely from scratch. They decided not to. Apple's silence was a calculated refusal to participate in the arms race, opting instead to play a completely different strategic game. At WWDC 2026, Apple clarified the specifics of their approach. Instead of deploying an in-house frontier model, the company is outsourcing the core engine of its operating system to a direct competitor. Apple agreed to a $1 billion licensing deal to use a 1.2 trillion parameter Google Gemini model as their system's foundation. This Gemini block powers upward, acting as the backbone for Apple foundation models, feeding reasoning directly into iOS applications. Handing the brain of your operating system over to the company that builds Android is the most contrarian strategic bet happening in the tech sector. The architecture of iOS 27 is built around an extensions framework. It allows multiple competing AI models to reside simultaneously on the device, functioning as a system hub rather than a single provider interface. This framework replaces the exclusive integration OpenAI held inside the iPhone during the iOS 18 era. Now, the query paths force these providers to compete for the request. In practice, the system routes queries based on strengths. Gemini handles general system searches by default. If you need complex code generation, the request routes to ChatGPT. If you need precise document analysis, it goes to Anthropic's Claude. To manage this, each AI provider operates with its own distinct synthesized voice. When your phone answers a prompt, you know exactly which cloud or edge model is doing the talking. Apple has successfully forced the most advanced AI companies in the world to act as interchangeable, commoditized plugins, competing for space within Apple's walled garden. If Apple is buying all these external brains, what exactly is their own engineering team focused on? They are building the nervous system. Apple's system orchestrator and private cloud compute act as the secure routing layer, determining exactly how and when personal data interfaces with third-party models. This routing layer enforces a rigid privacy standard. Information sent to the cloud is used solely to complete the user's specific request. It is never stored, and it remains entirely inaccessible to Google or Anthropic for future training. This secure orchestration layer directly powers high-end, on-device features. It enables things like spatial reframing for photos and runs the visual intelligence system natively on the Vision Pro headset. Apple's true product here is the secure interface itself. They retain the relationship with the user and total control of the hardware, keeping the actual AI vendors at a safe distance. Apple is letting its rivals burn billions of dollars testing and training foundation models. Instead of taking on that massive capital risk, Apple simply licenses the technology from whoever wins. Because the Extensions API allows users to swap between ChatGPT, Claude, and Gemini effortlessly, the underlying AI models lose their exclusivity. This removes the pricing power of the AI labs, turning their highly expensive products into easily replaceable features. Google and Microsoft rely on software platforms to generate revenue, but Apple is a hardware company. To maintain their margins, Apple has to make sure that artificial intelligence remains a feature on their devices, not an entirely new computing platform that replaces them. By commoditizing the AI models, Apple is fighting a structural war to guarantee that the actual value of future computing stays tethered to the physical device sitting in your pocket. If on-device processing and multi-provider flexibility become the industry standard, Apple secures its future. They win the AI war without firing a single shot of their own compute power. In this scenario, Apple becomes the Switzerland of the tech sector, a neutral, highly profitable hub where rival AI models are forced to do business on Apple's terms. But if owning a proprietary frontier model proves to be the absolute requirement for next-generation computing, Apple is structurally exposed. By licensing Gemini, they are relying on the engineering progress of a primary competitor. If the intelligence behind the operating system eventually becomes more important than the hardware it runs on, Apple's gamble will fail. They will be remembered as the Kodak of the 2020s. Thanks for watching.